Classes in session.
Hey everybody!
I went to the gym today because I haven't gone to
intro.
Haven't gone to the gym in a long time.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Unlearn 16 Classes in Session. I have a guest. This one right here, Anna Pack. Listen, that I almost forgot how to introduce myself after you did that.
I'm sorry, but the people needed to know I haven't gone to the gym in a really long time, and today I went because I was like, no, I got to get back into my routine.
What did you do at the gym today?
I ran for 10 minutes. And then, why are you laughing?
What 10 minutes?
I ran for 10
minutes. Is that just to warm up?
Sure, I guess. I don't know. I ran for 10 minutes, and then I did these leg lifts things, and then I did...
How many?
A whole bunch. And then I did some bench press. I'm not strong. There was no weight on it, just the bar.
Okay.
I did 2 sets of 8 is all I could manage.
Okay.
So, working on it. And then I did more abs with the ball and then the bigger ball.
So you just did abs?
Yeah, that's all I do. And then I biked as a cool down.
Was that warmed up?
What?
Were you warmed up after
running for 10 minutes? Yeah.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
You're good to go?
Good to go.
How long were you in the gym in the totality?
Maybe in an hour.
You were never there for an hour. Does that count sitting and drinking water and stuff?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
You asked me how long I was in there for.
All right. Listen, we weren't going to talk about that at all. What we actually came to talk about was
hot topics.
Hot topics. Are you just making this up? You're on this, on it today.
But here's the thing. I don't know if this is hot topics because
I'm so terrified right now. I have no idea, guys, what lane she's going to drive in.
It happened a while ago, so maybe it's a cold topic. But I still want to say, topic. Zendaya's such a queen.
Zendaya, listen, you told me the story. Tell them the whole story.
I did,
I like it.
Because
tell it again.
She needed a dress or an outfit made, and so she went to all
when
these,
she was baby Zendaya, so not
yeah, so she was maybe just starting off, starting to get her fame and whatnot, and so she would
just maybe in the first Spider-Man.
I don't remember exactly when, but she would go to. She had an event to go to, and so she was asking the big fashion whatevers if they could do her outfit or whatever, and they all said no. And then she says if it's no now, then it's no forever, and then she goes off and becomes the queen that she is. Zendaya. And now everybody's knocking at her door, and she goes, "Do you remember when I said it's no now or no forever?" And her friend is actually the one that is styling her and all that. So,
and that's it. Does her friend design dresses and stuff?
I think they design everything. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, this is
a cool portion of the story if you know the person's name.
But this is why I said it's a cold topic, because
I don't know. I didn't know that story.
Now you do.
Although I don't get my news from TMZ or whatever news show you watch.
That's unfortunate.
But that's still not what we're going to talk about. But I really do love that. I feel like that would be, if it's no now, it's no forever. If you're on my team when I'm nothing or a baby something, you get to go with me the whole ride. Mm-hmm. But if you're not,
if you don't, you don't.
All right. So that's not what we're going to come on here and talk about. What we were going to come on here and talk about is something that has been exploding on Twitter, as it does, because Twitter is the cesspool for all, hyper embarrassing, masculinized ideals about the universe.
I have a Twitter, but I never open the app. I have so many notifications that Joe actually had to text me today being like, open your Twitter because I have tagged you in something, or else
I just wanted to see the story.
I wouldn't have known.
So she doesn't go there because Twitter is a less than positive place. Okay. But nonetheless, I'm on there often because I do enjoy the rage every once in a while. And I saw everybody complaining about the Acolyte. And all I saw was, oh my God, it's a bunch of lesbian witches trying to have babies. And I told that to Anna. We went,
interesting.
We're in. Sold. So we went off and watched. Now, there's only 3 episodes out. But we went off and watched it. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about why these people are so enraged. I want to talk about Star Wars in general. And then I want to talk about sort of
how it wasn't Anakin's fault.
No, we don't want to talk about that. Anna's a firm believer that Yoda's the bad guy. we'll come back
Not
around.
just Yoda, but all of the ones who said
All
absolutely
the Jedis,
not.
mostly Yoda. Okay, can we start with the Acolyte?
Sure.
So, first of all, what's
Question.
You're in a great mood today, by the way. I like it. You're like,
is Acolyte like
it's a follower.
Like, oh, okay.
It's an Acolyte. What were you gonna say?
Like a friend. Like, this is my
Acolyte.
My Acolyte.
No, an Acolyte is like a true follower of something.
I think I was thinking acquaintance, and that was like, it's a weird title to have.
Would be weird if it was called the Acquaintance.
Well, that's what the whole time that we're watching the whole time that we're watching this show, I was like, I wonder why it's called that.
I wonder why it's called The Acquaintance with lightsabers. Okay, so we watched the 3 episodes, and I was promised, first of all, I want to say this. I was promised lesbian witches. Turn to me, we got this.
So nice.
That was as lesbian as the whole show got. That's it. There was no kissing, no hand holding.
So far.
There was inferences.
No, but I'm just saying that's so far.
Sure, maybe we'll get what everybody was judging it on. When I'm seeing all these angry tweets,
you're not wrong. But I'm
from
just
all
saying,
these men that are upset Luke's not.
I'm still holding out hope that in the next couple episodes, they give us what we want.
So the premise of these 3 episodes, and if you haven't seen them already, I'm going to spoil everything. But pull it together. The premise of these 3 episodes is that there were twins that were created, and we don't know for sure, but that were created through some sort of energetic, magical entity. And it's this group of witches that I'm assuming sort of utilized what they call threads. They don't call it the Force. They call it a thread that connects all of us. So they call it something different. And they were able to put babies from, I'm assuming, one woman's genetic structure into another woman. That's all guesses, okay?
Because the one said...
The babies...
Should I... you spoiled it enough.
Spoil it. Oh.
Because the one said, I carried them, and the other said, but I created them.
I created them. So... Which, by the way, stand by. There is, I think, research being done in Germany in which you can take
bone marrow.
2 eggs. Well, maybe bone marrow, but 2 eggs, like the genetic material of egg A and genetic material of egg B, take this out, put it in the egg, and you have 2 genetic strands, and it can form, and if you do it, like if a geneticist or a reproductive specialist does it, you can actually create life, but you will only ever have girls.
I thought that it was bone marrow. I didn't think it was 2 eggs.
No, but it has to be half. It has to be gametes. You can't have 46 chromosomes. You have to have 23 chromosomes.
Maybe the bone marrow has chromosomes.
Yeah, but you need to be a gamete. Gametes have 23. Everything else has the whole 46. That's what makes a person a person.
Well, can't you cut it in half?
No, if you cut it... If I cut you in half, does your top half have less chromosomes?
You dig into the bone marrow, you find the DNA, and you cut the DNA in half.
No, you need a gamete. It's already half. It's a sex. It's a sex. Did you not take sex ed and talk about the difference between gametes and...
I don't know what gametes are.
Okay. So this happens. So we're watching the whole thing, and it's about these twins, and one twin wants to be, obviously, goes to be a Jedi, and somehow that stops it falls through because she stops becoming a Jedi. And the other twin, who they both think each other died at the beginning, and then they discover they haven't. One goes really off the rails, and she wants to get rid of all the Jedi because she thinks the Jedi came, because at some point the Jedi came to take the twins and test them to be Jedis.
And the way that they said it was very entitled. I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
and they walk in and they're like, we have the right to, and I'm like, excuse me?
To take the kids. So the way it works is, and if you guys have seen any of the other 9 Star Wars movies, the way it works is the Jedi find out where little mini Jedis are all over the world, and they can go and find them, and then take them and train them, right? Apparently that's their right. Now, I'm not going to make comparisons of like real life, but that's kidnapping. That is kidnapping, and that is destroying somebody's culture and somebody else's beliefs and making you believe what the Jedi believe. So I'm a little bit with you. If the Jedi have always been like that, where they could just traipse all in and say, I'm taking your kids. Well, I'm not a fan of that either. And by the sounds of it, it sounds like this witch coven is there not to be the anti-Jedi, but they're doing the same damn things differently.
I think from what I have gathered so far, because they did say that they were like the leftovers of what happened. So obviously something happened that they had to be exiled to a different place. And so these, I feel like they're just trying to survive, really.
Yeah, I feel like we've skipped over some sort of genocide.
Something
like
happened.
I think something would have happened between that coven and the Jedi proper.
I don't know if it's the Jedi specifically, but someone.
No, it seems like the Jedi, because the Jedi know that those aren't the actual, like, these Jedi aren't the real Jedi, but they're doing the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I'm not going to right away say it was the Jedi that caused whatever.
But I just don't. You can't tell who the good guys or the bad guys are, and then you start.
I've always said that the bad guys were the Jedis.
Well, then you start to get to the part where you're like, all of the bad guys in the other. So all of the people that end up using the dark force, right? In the other 9 episodes, they all once used to be Jedis.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then they turn to the dark side. But there's this underlying assumption that the Jedis have it right all the time, whereas a whole bunch of people now are starting to question, including Luke, by the way, are starting to question who the Jedi have always been, if they are the best and the most enlightened and they should never ever change, or if there's another way, which is why I really liked, what's that other show we watch with Rosario Dawson? Which one's she in?
The Mandalorian?
Yeah, but is that where that girl's from with the long head?
Oh no, Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm. Because Ahsoka is the only.
And I'm the one. I told you this for forever. Like even when we were watching the Clone Wars or whatever, like the the prequel ones,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I've always said there's only been one Jedi ever to have the white lightsaber, and I think that that's what it means.
That they found the magic between the two, mm-hmm. right? Because the notion that Jedis are void of emotion is weird. You're right. But I think the extremes are the weirdness. I think being void of emotion and being controlled by emotion are the 2 extremes that are the problem. Anakin, as you seem to think, wasn't a good guy because he was constantly controlled and self-manipulated by all of the negative emotion he had. But it was every decision he made was that.
But the Jedi could have talked about these emotions. They could have whatever, but all the Jedi said was repress it. You can't have them.
Well, they didn't say, I don't know if they ever said repress it. They never used the word repress.
Well, no, but
they would have said you need to control your emotions, you need to balance them, you need to understand that if you're being driven by rage or driven by anger, that you won't ever be able to see anything clearly. Now, having said that, Yoda didn't see everything clearly either, and the dude wasn't driven by rage. You know what I mean? He constantly was like, I'm blinded by this, or I can't see ahead into the future here. Right?
Sure.
Well, but so it's the same problem. They can't see perfectly into the future either. So if I start thinking about what this group and what this coven is doing,
we haven't really figured that out yet, though. In the first 3 episodes,
I think they're trying to create girls. I mean, I think there are. I agree, lesbian witches. I just don't think they're actually bad. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they're actually necessarily a negative force. I think they're trying to do something. And are they trying to, I think this is the difference. Are they trying to manipulate?
I think originally, because of whatever reason that we don't know yet, because we haven't gotten that far, whatever reason this happened, and then they had to go survive. I think right now they're just trying to survive. But we keep bouncing back and forth from what happened to the present day. Yeah. And in the present day, though, you do see that one of them is dabbling in the dark side of things, which is what we're assuming. But we don't know that she's like a Sith, right? We don't know. All we know is that
I didn't tell you the best part. The mom that carried them had a pointy head. Pieces.
I know. I called that. I said, "Do you remember
what that looks like
in episode 1, the Sith of episode 1?"
Is that like, Darth Sidious? The red guy? You know, guys, the red head, and he has horns all over his head? There's a girl that carried them.
Anyways, I forgot the point that I was trying to make. Oh, which is that the one is seemingly, it looks like she's dabbling into the dark side because she keeps saying that she has a master. But meanwhile, I think she's just still following the coven, still following the.
And it's
witchcraft is what I believe.
So. Sure. And I said it's witchcraft, but if you says controlling the force is witchcraft or it's the force, I don't know what it is. I don't know. You just call it witchcraft when girls do it. It's called the force when boys do it.
Well, no, because there's girl Jedis.
Yeah, but let's be honest. The girl Jedis are way later and way later down in lore. And really, when people think of Jedis, they think of Luke, they think of Anakin, they think of the guys.
But that's not true because one of the Jedis that was brought in to get the twins.
Well, yeah, but now you're starting to see a lot of girl Jedis existing. That just wasn't the case for a very long time. I know Rey is a Jedi.
But this was 100 years before Anakin was even born.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying time-wise. I'm saying like culture-wise in who's writing it and creating the stories. They're changing it a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Which I'm totally. By the way, everybody that's online, all the boys that are like, they're changing everything. They're ruining Star Wars. It's fiction, my boys. Just so you know, it didn't really happen. So they're not messing with history. They're just adding and filling out and increasing the whole scope of the story, you children.
What I'm saying is that in the original Star Wars and then the prequels, like just that bank of 9 Star movies. Wars, yeah. You could say that like in that moment, the creators were towards like the boys being the Jedis. What I'm saying is that this is 100 years prior to any of that happening. And the leader that they brought in to go pick up the 2 girls is a female Jedi.
I'm wondering, but wait, follow my line of question. Follow my line for a second.
Because the same creator is the one who created the witches that you are talking about now, because these witches did not exist.
It's not George Lucas, first of all. So it's not the same creator.
Sure, but what I'm saying is that these witches were also created by the same person who made the Jedi.
No, but it's different. It's all different writers. It's all different people. Like now Disney owns Star Wars, so it's not the same line.
Amazing. But the same person who casted the leader Jedi to go get the twins is the same person who casted the Coven of Witches and called them witches.
Okay, but follow my logic here. I'm wondering, because I do see a lot from a feminist perspective, and I see a lot from sort of this division, because when you see the division between Luke and Leia, it's mind-boggling what Luke went through and who he gets to be, and what Leia went through and what she eventually gets to be, but nobody ever talks that she had any powers. It's like mentioned in like Return of the Jedi for like 3 seconds. But I'm wondering if the innate power of women, even if we're dealing with 100 years before the Anakin, the innate power of women, the power to actually give birth, is the ultimate power that these witches tried to, use and control and all of those things. And you had Jedi that were both women and men, but I'm wondering if the flip of power came because these women, it was seen, well, if these women have this power and control the Force, this is what they're going to do with it. We should wipe them all out. So, 100 years ago, there were women Jedis, and all of a sudden, they're going to have to face this coven who has way more power than a regular Jedi, a boy Jedi, because they can give birth. It is more power. Women have inherently, if they are equal, if a Jedi a woman Jedi and a guy Jedi are equal. Women are more powerful because they can actually give birth. And if you can control, because by the way, Anakin was made by the metachlorines, right? It was a virgin birth, apparently, the way that Anakin was born.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's pissed on Twitter because they're like, oh, they ruined the fact that he was the only guy that was born like that. What?
Okay, but wasn't Rey that too?
No. They never said that Rey. Well, they eventually say that Rey was?
Mm-hmm.
They eventually said Rey was too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They would have been upset with Rey too. Right? They would have been upset by that. They would have said that it was the Emperor that impregnated her mom. Is that how they would have worked? Who was her mom? I don't think we ever found out who her mom was. Do you know who Rey's mom is?
I don't remember, but I do remember it being the same situation as Anakin, where someone manipulated the Force and made Rey
I'm gonna have to go back and
look out of electricity guy.
Oh yeah, the Emperor. Well, I'm just wondering that maybe this is a bigger, and this is what the boys don't like. The very breakable, snowflake-like men of the Twitter universe. They don't like the fact that all of this is being changed and shaken and stirred and added, and women have this power and all of a sudden. They don't like it because they think it messes with, and they'll call it canon. And what they mean by canon, they mean actual history. They mean provable history. They mean this is set in stone. I really worry about these men. Because a lot of these men who are making these comments on Twitter, they have real jobs and families and control really important things, and they are devastated that a fictional reality that George Lucas invented actually is being added to it with more fictional pieces to make a bigger story, and they are beside themselves. I'm worried about them.
Okay.
We should maybe have a health check on their, make sure they're okay. But that's the bottom line. I think the bottom line is everybody's afraid of women's inherent bigger power. That's the moral of the story. That women are the only thing that can carry and grow babies. Do you not see that? It's a long pause.
I don't know. I think I don't know. You went on this long tangent.
But don't you see it? Don't you see it as being like, because that's why everybody is so angry at it. Everybody's so angry because it's all focused on women. So aren't you upset by that? I'm wondering what on earth that you are going to focus on when we're talking about this contrasting battle and who has more power. And that's why men are so incredibly upset. You don't think so?
I mean, I haven't been on Twitter, so I don't really know what they're saying, and I
don't you see them pitting against, like, I see the Star Wars universe, whoever's creating this, very much pitting the two against each other. You don't see that?
Pinning men and women against
each other? A little bit, yeah. Absolutely. When you create a coven of witches that are all women, that are going to have this kind of significant power, right? In a traditionally male-dominated fictional universe, I feel as though they are trying to say something. I'm just okay with them saying it. And by the way, I'll be okay with them saying it their next incarnation when they talk about any other piece of cultural or social reality that they want to throw in the mix to reshape all of these realities. Like, I think it's really funny how we keep trying to draw it back to who we are and how we are, and we don't take into account that every piece of fiction that's out there, science fiction particularly true, we constantly put our ideas and our identities and our belief systems into that fictional reality. So you'll see a whole other section of Star Wars reemerge where it's not men against women, where gender binaries are going to be, blown apart, and that's not going to matter anymore, where you're going to see all these different other kinds and types of identities that we now see today insert themselves into this fiction, and I'm excited for it. Whereas everybody else thinks it destroys it, makes everything horrible.
So you're saying that people don't like it because there's a coven of witches and there's no guys in the coven of witches.
Yeah, I'm saying because it's making. Well, I'm not saying that. Guys are saying that lesbian witches are ruining Star Wars.
Well, that's silly to say,
but that's what they're saying. But that's what they and again, it's hysterical to me about the why, how everything is so fragile to them, that the things, and don't get me wrong, you guys know I'm a purist, so I like this movies I grew up with. I still say the original 3 Star Wars are the best Star Wars I've ever seen. But that's because I grew up with them. And a rational individual can say, since I grew up with those 3, they have a special place in my heart and my reality and why I like them and what I have. Whereas this one over here likes number 2.
It's my favorite.
Listen, you can't separate how you grew up and what you saw first and what you connected with first and all of those things. And of course, new episodes and new ideas. That's why Ahsoka, I think, is so incredibly, because Ahsoka is my favorite, by the way. And she just sits very uncomfortably for most people in the middle.
I just think that every movie that was originally made was meant to seem light side, dark side, period, pick one. That's what you're
Black, white, right, wrong, yes.
And then in every new one that has come out, you're starting to see, well, there's other stuff that are in the middle. There's other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I just think that
it's all blurred.
No, but I think that the Coven of Witches falls somewhere in there. It's not
clear anymore. It's not good guys versus bad guys, black hats, white cowboy hats, call it a day.
Yeah.
Which is
also
incredibly important.
I think it was, no, I can't remember. One of the extras that was made, there's also a black lightsaber, which I haven't quite...
Who had the black lightsaber?
I don't remember. It was one of those where I really wasn't that much into it, but it was like...
I didn't love The Mandalorian.
You had to like win it and like take it away from the... kind of like...
Excalibur's sword.
No, not even.
Harry Potter's wand.
The wand, kind of like that, where it's like you had to win it in battle
and
take it. Anyway, so there's that one, which I haven't quite... Like, the white one makes sense to me. The white one it's neither. It's you're using the Force the way that you feel you would use the Force, period. There's nothing telling you to do it a certain way, nothing telling you to do it a different way. That's the white one for me. The black one, I haven't quite figured out where the black one falls in there.
I really like this idea of ambiguity. And I think it's really funny because as we were talking, I just brought up, non-binary individuals and trans individuals. And this idea, this ambiguity of identity, the ambiguity of right and wrong, the ambiguity of clear-cut lines and what you're supposed to, makes everybody uncomfortable. And that's why they don't like it. They don't like it because it's not clear about what they're supposed to think and how they're supposed to think. And it's not clear-cut lines that gives them the illusion, the pretense of the world, and it's an easy place to figure out. Because guess what? It's not. Mm-hmm. It never is. There are never clear-cut lines where you don't have to sort of analyze and research the vast shades of gray in between the realities. And people who think small and people who think, on a very simplistic kind of basis, get challenged by it, get uncomfortable because of it, and then get afraid. And we all know what fear leads to. What does fear lead to? Babe, we're doing a Star Wars podcast.
Because you want me to say the dark side, but fear, you could use it.
And on that note...
no, I want to bring in a new movie.
A new movie?
Yeah, I want to talk
a new Star Wars
this
movie?
But this is a hot take about what we were just talking about. So there's this movie called Inside Out. Have you seen Inside Out?
Yeah, a long time ago.
So it's like the emotions from when you're little and the emotions that you are capable of understanding or experiencing. And so you have just like a handful of them, which is like joy, sadness, anger, disgust, and
disgust.
One more. I forgot what it is. But anyways, and then they go like into the kid's head and you see them working things out and whatnot. And so in this movie, you see all those emotions in the kid's head, but then every once in a while, very rarely, you go into the parents' head to see like now what the parent is thinking about trying to deal with their preteen kid or whatever, like what's the emotions that are going on. And this is a hot take. Some people might not like it.
I don't know where you're going.
But the little people that are in the head representing the different emotions, in the kid's head, she's got girls and boys and everything in between. And in the parents' heads, it's very clear that the dad, all of his emotions are male emotion. And the moms are all female emotion, not emotions, but represented by the female figure, I guess you would put it that way.
So as they get older, they've delineated.
But what I'm saying is like now in the new one that came out, which I haven't seen yet, the kid has this like deep secret or like this deep whatever.
Doesn't she have anxiety?
That they're holding on to, and a lot more emotions come in. So like anxiety comes in and worry and whatever, like all these other emotions come in. And again, it's a mix of everything. And so I just think that is now putting into movies more of an understanding of the non-binary.
Yeah, the idea that if we allow kids to be just who they are, that they're more likely to draw upon lots of different sort of concepts of masculinity and femininity as it pertains to them. Leave them alone, they become this beautiful little individual. Socialize the hell out of them and they become what we want them to become and what we think they're supposed to become. But meanwhile, we probably should stay the hell out of their way and let them just be. I like it. I like all of it. And you know who's not going to like this?
That's just what I was thinking when I was watching.
The men who hate the Acolyte, they're going to hate this. They are going to, if they ever go see it, they're going to be furious. I can't wait. I can't wait to see their Twitter responses.
And I could be wrong. Like maybe
I like that.
Maybe that's not it at all. Maybe that's just the way that they drew the cartoons or whatever. That's just what happened to be it. And maybe I'm just making something out of nothing. But I just thought it was interesting that you do see both in the kid and you only see the singles in the parents. And so it's like bringing in what society is moving forward in. You know what I mean?
I like it. And it's really, really, guys, men on Twitter. Well, not all men, just the really embarrassing snowflake men on Twitter. You guys are going to have a real rough time with the future. I hope you can figure it out. Maybe get yourself a good therapist. Maybe listen to your kids more. Maybe try to watch Star Wars and stop trying to make it the way it was in 1982.
Did you have a good day today?
I had a great day today.
Do you want to tell them about your day?
What am I going to tell them about the day?
I don't know.
We just did a whole podcast. I just had a killer ending. And you sweep in with, okay, let's talk about our days.
I don't know. I just feel like I told them I went to the gym. Maybe you wanted to share.
I went to work and I did computer stuff that I never ever want to have to do again. That's all. But Metro Prep's coming along, so here we are. All right, guys, on that note, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and I hope you can follow our train of thought. If you can't,
listen to my album called Manifest. You can find it on all streaming platforms.
Oh, she's great at promoting. Have a great day, guys.
I'm also a vlog girly, so go look at my vlog.
I'll put it in the link down below. Have a great day. I'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Dismissed.